So we are into Thursday's opener, and that is the Eels against the Tigers. The Eels bring back some very noticeable talent as well as a couple changes to the bench. The most noticeable inclusion is, of course, Mitchell Moses back in that 7 jersey after he bowed out a few rounds ago with a calf injury. He's going to be instrumental for me. Ferguson named, as well as Ryan Mattison as well. They both missed last week with a couple knocks between them, and it looks like the 28-year-old debutant Andy Davey managed to impress as he's earned himself the 14 shirt. How are you feeling about this one?
Yeah, look, it's good to have Mitch back. As much as Jay Field impressed during his time in the number 7, the thing that I kept pointing out is he can only pass one way. And Manly were more than happy to load up their right side defence and let Field run that way. And as a result, we've dropped off the top of the ladder, have my Parramatta Eels, but it's good to have Mitch back. Ryan Mattison, a huge inclusion this week. Should be good to go with a little bit of a thumb injury. As you mentioned, Fergo back. He's overdue for a try. I don't know if it's going to be this week. Andrew Davey, a really solid debut for him. Only played 28 minutes, but got the try assist for the last try of the game against Manly. He's looking to bring on the impact. As for the Tigers, it looks like Luke Garner is out with Michael Cheekham coming into the second row as the only change there. What do you reckon, mate? I've got Parramatta. I think you do too. For me, I'm going with my heart and head here, but even with the Tigers playing as well as they did last week, just can't see it happening.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the edges in particular, Norfoluma and Lawrence going up against Blake and Ferguson, and then on the other side, Mbai and Talau. Talau's a great player. He's shown that he's NRL caliber, but coming up against someone like Micah Sevo, who's in red hot form, you've seen him absolutely blast through the line time and time again, especially when you've got a player like Moses Mbai, who against Souths, you saw him coming in a lot, and it's become somewhat of a defending characteristic of his, where he'll jam in, and that comes from him having a multitude of wingers outside him, because he doesn't have that relationship with his winger yet, where he knows that winger's going to make a tackle. So we're 11 rounds in, he's already had Hoffman, Jennings, and now Talau outside him. For me, Mbai just got to show a little bit more defensive trust in his outside man, because otherwise the Eels go down that left side and they pick him apart. Because I'm not the most rugby league switched on person. You know, they've got guys that are on substantial amounts of money that review footage, and they'll have already singled out the fact that Mbai is going to jump the line. The Tigers going with Walters and Marshall, going up against a team that's only lost 2 games in their last 10.
Yep.
With a halves pairing that's only realistically got 70 minutes of experience between them as a pairing. It's a big risk, but we've seen it. And Maguire, he's very good at making sure that he is picking the right combinations. When he's often criticised for the amount of overhaul that he does go through, but when he does make those changes, they usually come off. I mean, you then look at the Tigers pack. Aloye still there. Packer is a question mark for me. I don't think he did enough last week. I think his body is showing a lot of signs of aging and wear and tear. But coming up against a younger and more physical Parramatta pack, it's going to be a big ask for him.
Yeah, I'm still slightly confused about the selection of Luke Brooks there in the 16. I don't really think he should be there at all. But in saying that, there's not much coming from the reserves. Ollie Clark, Elijah Taylor, Sean Bloor, and Ollie Seafarth the 4 reserves for the Tigers. Yeah, look, I'm going Parramatta here. I will say though, because you cannot ever count out a Tigers team coming up against Parramatta. This is a rivalry match. Both teams, I won't say hate each other, but there is a spirited passion to get up over one another. The Tigers always show up against Parramatta. There's always something that happens. Benji, for all we know, could just throw it back to 2005 and have a standout game like he did last week. David Nofoaluma could just freak out, break through a couple of Wanga Blake tackles and go over for a double. You could have the likes of Alaye and Luciano Leilua that try and bust through the substitutes when they do come on and score under the posts. And, of course, you can't discredit Harry Grant. The dude's just an absolute freak. So you can't at all discredit the Tigers. In saying that, for my tip or my bet this week for this Eels game, for those that did follow me last week, we broke even. Thanks to the Parramatta game being void with Ferguson being ruled out. So put $35 on, got $35 back. Can't complain with that. I'm going the Eels to win and over 39.5. That particular single hasn't been put up yet, but that should be around $2.40. If you're feeling frisky, the second half has been the highest scoring half in in 3 of the last 5. I can't really do math. The first half, opening round at Bankwest last year, obviously Parramatta got off to a scorcher. And then it was back to 2018, 26 points in the first half, 24 in the second half at ANZ. So Eels win over 39.5 for me. Second half is the highest scoring half. If you put them together as a same game multi, you can get them for about 433. I would recommend going a $5 on the Eels and over, and then another $5 on the second half market.
Yeah, so you've jumped on what I was going to go with there. I was thinking second half high scoring. I was having a look at that the other day. But I would say as well, if you're going to go players, then go Michael Jennings to score any time. He's coming up against Mbai. As we mentioned before, he has a habit of jumping in, and if he does miss out on that, Jennings is more than capable and more than fast enough to expose that, especially down a quite inexperienced edge as well. So I am going to go Parramatta, either take them on the line or take them at a -3.5 on a handicap, plus Jennings, as well as the second half, the highest scoring, as you mentioned there, but I'll throw in the handicap there.
All right, Eels at 3.5, currently at $1.46. For those curious, we should say it's $4.47 on Tuesday. Obviously, the odds are going to change by the time you see it. We're only going off what we see right now. And, of course, to cover our butts, gamble responsibly.
So then we move to the next game,